definitely look familiar. This one means protection.
Wait, contract. She still knows. Sorry, kid. Maybe we didn't need you after all.
Hello, welcome to another episode of After the Bell. This time, it's Murdered Sole Suspect that is up for its official grading. If you haven't seen the Before the Bell for Sole Suspect, then I highly recommend you watch that before continuing with this. For now though, let's crack on. So yes, I am back already. Murdered Sole Suspect certainly isn't the longest game I've ever played. I managed to do it in 3 sit-downs, and I'm sure if you just focus on the main campaign alone, there's no reason why you couldn't clock this in 2, or maybe even 1. If you do want to extend the playthrough, then I recommend you hunt down the collectible artifacts, as they give an interesting backstory to the town, as well as some of Ronan's past. Some of the collectibles reward you with a ghost story about Salem, so this could be based on a murder from years ago or a finding of a corpse. They sound very cheesy, but they're actually pretty good and one of the best aspects of Sole Suspect. And I do wish more games, offered something in reward for collecting artifacts and doing side quests, rather than just an achievement, a trophy, or in-game currency. I actually thought the story was pretty good, and certainly one of the stronger parts. You might think they're pushing the envelope too far and that it's not realistic. But if you do feel that way, I'd ask you just to stop and look at what you're doing and what you're playing. You're a bloody ghost. What do you expect? For me, they had a license here and it worked well, and was certainly better than some of the other dross that I've played through in the past. Now, the actual detective mechanics are very basic, but they're very stress-free. Rather than just collecting evidence, you're actually asked to piece together relevant facts in the correct order. So you'll have bits of evidence that you pick up that are irrelevant, and it's down to you to decide which ones are relevant and what order they play out to answer the question of the crime scene. It sounds harder than it is, but it's nice to know that you're not just wandering around picking up clues and doing nothing with them. I would have loved for them to introduce some form of interrogation or questioning mechanic. I know there's an influencing type thing, but that's not really a question type thing. I would have liked to be able to speak to someone who may be in their mind, but apart from that, there's no real complaints on that side of things. As I mentioned Before the Bell, the stealth combat isn't very good, and I have to say, finishing the game, I have to say it's actually dreadful. It's totally unnecessary and it's not implemented well. It's clunky, inconsistent, it wrecks the pace of Sole Suspect. It just seems like they had to bolt it on just to put some combat into the game. It ends up affecting it negatively, and I wish they'd just bin this off completely and left it as a straight detective game. Other gripes include the rules that you have as being a ghost. So you can't just enter any building that's in Salem. The door has to be left open for you to enter it. It does explain why in the beginning of the game, but it's not a very believable or type rule. It's just a load of old rubbish, if you ask me. Outside, which is even worse in my opinion, this is the worst bit, in the town, you navigate through the town, there's paths that you can take, but there's actually certain areas that are blocked off by ghostly remnants of Salem's past. Now, I do understand why you can't enter buildings, because if you could enter all the buildings, that would be some mighty work to pull that off, but parts of the town being blocked off and paths being blocked just is a piece of nonsense, absolute rubbish in my opinion. And overall, I would say the game does feel rushed. Little or no thought, as I said, has been put into combat. The rules that you have as a ghost forces you to play completely differently as how you'd expect to be a ghost, and you're immediately reminded that you are just playing a video game. The game suffers technically, there's clipping, stuttering and constant frame rate drops. However, the game's story, originality and enticing side quests and collectibles keep Sole Suspect's head just above water. And as such, Murdered Sole Suspects After the Bell grading is bronze.
I don't know about any contract. Please, just stop.
The hell is this? Contract? What did he mean by contract? No. No, this is the memory of your murder. You're too young. You shouldn't see this.
So there we have it. Murdered Soul Suspect scrapes itself a bronze, and yes, it does just about scrape itself a bronze. The technical issues that the game has and the combat alone almost do enough to wreck the entire experience. Fortunately, exploring the world of Salem, collecting evidence and piecing together the story of the Bell Killer are entertaining and well executed. It is a niche of a game, so it's not going to appeal to everyone. If you're into your Call of Duties, you're into your Grand Theft Autos and you want all out action, you are not going to find that here. But if you're intrigued by a detective game, then I recommend you pick this up. And if you can find a bargain, then yes, definitely go out and grab this game. It's probably not worth the full retail price, maybe because of its length, but I don't think many places are going to be selling it at the full price anyway, so get out there and see if you can find yourself a bargain. I said Zavvi, £15, it's definitely worth that sort of price, so keep your eyes peeled and pick this up if you get a chance. Nothing else more for me to say, apart from thanks for your time, and ta-da!